Hi there. My name is Erica Hawley. I'm a functional nutritional therapy practitioner. And on a basic level, that means that I help people connect what they're eating with how they're feeling. And how they're feeling could look like a lot of different things. So, on a normal basis, maybe how you're feeling could look like I'm having some digestive issues, or maybe my energy is all over the place and my energy is really low and I'm struggling. Perhaps that looks like, well, I have some hormone symptoms going on, or skin issues. Perhaps that also looks like anxiety and high levels of stress, and our nervous system is all over the place. And that is what I'm going to be focusing on today in particular. So, I am going to be talking about food, but being that I'm also on the holistic healing realm, and I like to look at things from more of a functional perspective, we're going to be talking about a little bit more than just food today. So, I have been hearing from a lot of different sources and different people that right now, during this time, especially of self-isolation and a lot of the stress that's been happening in the world around us, that this has resulted in a lot of us stress eating at home. And that's something that I want to address today. So, first of all, what I want to talk about is our nervous system. Okay. So our nervous system is really how we interpret the world. It's really how we interpret everything that's happening around us. And our nervous system controls everything. So I want to help you to feel a little bit more control, over the food you're eating, but also how you're experiencing things as they're unfolding for you. And when it comes to your nervous system and your body, what I can tell you is this: your body is so incredible and it works all the time to keep you in a good balance. Your nervous system is constantly scanning your external environment, everything around you, and your internal environment, what's going on all in here. And it's asking one question all the time: am I safe? Is this safe? Am I safe? Right? All the time. Right now, our nervous system does not feel safe. It just doesn't, especially with our routines shifting. Everything around us is moving faster and slower at the same time, and we don't really know what to expect on a day-to-day. We're opening up our phones every morning and going, what's the damage report? What can I expect? How can I prepare? Among a ton of other things that we're all individually experiencing, there's a lot of stress happening. And your body, being the very smart being that it is, when it's under stress, it knows I need energy. How does it get energy? It gets energy when you eat food. So this is the idea of stress eating. When we're under stress and our body's experiencing this stress, it says, I need to gather as much energy as possible to either boost my energy right now because I'm in this state of stress, or I need to hoard it and hold on to it for another time because who knows how long this stress storm is going to last. So this is your body working in a way that is trying to protect you. It is not doing wrong by you. It is doing what it thinks is right. So I say all those things because one of the most important things that we can do when we're in this stress eating cycle is to shift our mindset a little bit. So let's think about when we stress eat. Maybe we overate, or maybe we ate foods that we don't normally eat or just make us feel bad. There tends to be this rebound effect, right? We wake up the next morning, or maybe it's a few hours later, or the next day we wake up or just kind of, come to our senses and go, oh, I feel awful. Like I feel like absolute crap. I ate these things. And then this cycle comes of shame, guilt, embarrassment, whatever that feels like to you. But all of it is this negative self-reflection that's happening, right? And this is a huge problem because when we feel that rebound effect, it adds more stress to our nervous system. And stress is the reason that this cycle came to fruition in the first place, right? It is the reason that it began. So if we are creating or connecting these negative emotions with the foods that we're eating, it's going to compound into that stress cycle and keep us down in this place. So the first thing that I want to say is, when it comes to the foods you're eating, right now our body is under stress and it is experiencing an enormous amount of stress. So connecting more negative feelings around the foods you're eating and putting yourself in this vicious cycle of blaming yourself for these things and creating these really negative emotions connected to what you're eating is only worsening the problem. So please, whatever you can do to take a deep breath, take a step back, and practice some gratitude, some grace, and some self-love a little bit, just to soothe yourself a little bit and say, you know what? Right now, the world is crazy, and it is okay. It is okay that I sometimes am reaching to some food for some comfort, and giving yourself a little bit of that love. I think that's so important right now. Next thing I want to talk about is staying grounded. So right now, I was just talking about this idea of how the world around us is moving faster and slower at the same time, and we're trying to catch up. For most of us, our routines have been shifted drastically, whether that means you're working from home or you're dealing with children at home right now instead of being at school. There's a lot of changes happening. So the most important thing for us to do is to stay rooted and grounded, and let's talk about what that looks like. So what I mean by grounded and rooted is creating a routine, or trying to shift your routine to give yourself the feeling that you are the best version of you possible. What does that routine look like that makes you feel like just a good version of you? Maybe that looks like movement. Maybe that looks like having a nice cup of coffee in the morning, or your favorite breakfast to yourself. Maybe that looks like checking in with loved ones or a good friend on a weekly basis. Whatever that looks like to you, it's incredibly important that we create that grounding so we can shift away from this stressed state so your body feels like it's in a good routine. And I know that it's going to be very difficult to get back to the same routine that you had before, but if we're able to adapt a little bit and create some sense of normalcy, that's going to help this stress storm right now too. For me, staying grounded, one of the number one things that I do to help myself stay grounded is food. I love food. So now I want to shift the talk to food a little bit. So number one thing that I think that we can be focusing on right now during this time of stress is water. Because when we are in a state of even slight dehydration, our energy kind of plummets. We start to feel like crap. We maybe feel hungry, but when we are dehydrated, our energy is low. And our body, again, being the smart being that it is, knows that the way that I feel good and I boost my energy is if I have food, because I need sugar. So it's going to have you craving sugar. So if we are able to drink more water and balance that out, it's going to cause our body to not have that trigger to feel like it needs an instant boost of sugar. And drinking water, the adequate number should be about half your body weight in ounces per day. The other piece about water drinking is right now when we're under stress, our body burns through minerals, and we get those minerals very often from the electrolytes that are in water. So number one, please, please, please be focusing on water. The other thing that I want to talk about is building a plate. And we can do this. I mean, we are going to have some limitations right now. So again, giving yourself some grace and space to know that nothing is going to be perfect. But when we look at building a plate, the simplest thing that we can do is think about our food in quadrants, or, in orders of priority. And the priority number one when we're building a plate, especially in a time of stress, is protein. Protein. And protein looks like a lot of different things. So yes, animal products. I am talking about animal products, whether that's meat specifically, fish, maybe legumes or tofu, if that works for you. But we need to be focusing on protein, one, to balance our energy, so we're not getting that crash and feeling like we need sugar right away, but also because protein, when it's broken down into our body, I'm going to get nerdy here. Protein breaks down into amino acids, and those amino acids are the building blocks of our neurotransmitters. And some of those neurotransmitters are our anti-stress or our feel-good hormones. How can we expect to combat stress and feel good if we're not giving our body what it needs to create those things? So protein is going to be number one. And when we're looking to create a plate in that way, I'm going to come up with some ideas to kind of filter that in towards the end. So protein, number one. Number two, what we want to be looking at on our plate is what kind of plant life do I have on here? And plant life, yes, I'm talking about veggies, but I say plants because I'm also talking about fruits, nuts, seeds, legumes. So, we were talking about beans, maybe chickpeas, whatever that looks like. This variety of plant life is going to give our body different nutrient density or nutrients and micronutrients, minerals, and vitamins that our body needs right now. And every day, but especially right now, because our body, when we're under stress, we burn through all of these things. So the more that we can give our body these strong nutrients and these vitamins through plant life, it's going to be incredibly beneficial for our gut bacteria. Number one, that's what it feeds on, is all this fiber and these nutrients, right? So our body can continue producing other vitamins because it is very self-sufficient in that way. So plant life, incredibly important. Number 3, we're going to be looking for fat on our plate. So, and fats can look like plant life again. So maybe avocados or sliced almonds, cashews can be good. But maybe we're looking at more shelf-stable things. So olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, maybe some really good high-quality mayonnaise to mix into a meat to make a salad of sorts. So any of those higher fats are going to be important for a few things. One, for brain function. Our brain is made up of fat, and it prefers fat for fuel in general. So the more good fats that we have, it's going to be helping that system as well as hormone health, but it is also going to be incredibly important to satiate us. The more that we feel these energy crashes and our body is craving sugar just to get it up right away, especially when we're in a time of stress, fat kind of evens everything out for us so we don't have those crashes where our body feels like it needs to respond to save us, right? So fat is also incredibly important. And lastly, carbs. So as far as carbohydrates go, across the board, we want to be eating as much real food that comes from earth as possible. So when I'm thinking about carbs, rice, wonderful, potatoes, sweet potatoes, all of those things, incredibly great. And the carbs are going to change depending on the person. It's very individual, but it's also individual in the sense of what activity have you done today? What kind of stress are you under? All those sorts of things. So that carb amount is going to change. But when I talk about carbs, I don't mean that we want to eliminate them. We especially need them in these times of stress. When it comes to different types of carbohydrates, because there are so many, I want to be encouraging as natural or as close to a whole state as far as coming from earth as possible. However, when we are feeling these times of stress and we're looking at food, what I want to encourage is a state of reflection. So there are going to be times that as far as a carbohydrate, maybe we want some sugar, maybe we want some dark chocolate or a chocolate bar or a cupcake, or we want some mac and cheese, or whatever that looks like, a cookie, because we're under stress and we want this food. What I would encourage you to do is, in this time of stress, when you're reaching for one of those things, take 10 seconds, pause yourself and say, hey, I want this food right now. Great. How is it going to make me feel after? And how's it going to make me feel tomorrow? Because if we eat that food and it makes us feel good right away, awesome. But if we start to, whether it's an hour, a few hours, or the next day, start to regret that decision and get back into that vicious cycle, or it makes you feel like crap and it just depletes your energy, then your body is going to want to respond to get that energy back up by requiring more sugar, right? So the more that we can have this state of reflection and say, hey, do I want this chocolate or this cookie right now? And if the answer is yes, eat the damn cookie. Great. And if the next day you reflect and go, you know what? It kind of made me feel like crap afterwards. And I can't deal with that feeling today. That is also good. Even though you ate the cookie in both scenarios, you want to really reflect on how it's making you feel in your body and help that reflection, or allow that reflection to help you make better decisions moving forward. I hope that was helpful. Last thing that I want to say is, as far as ideas to kind of integrate some of these ideas when we're building a plate. So when we're building a plate, just a recap. Number 1, is there protein on the plate? Number 2, what kind of plant life is on this plate? Number 3, is there any fat? And number 4, where is the carb source coming from? So if we're starting and we're making mac and cheese, which I'll share with you what I did recently. I made a plant-based mac and cheese as a really easy, quick lunch because I was craving some comfort food. But I knew when I looked at it, it was mostly carbohydrates. There was really nothing else there. And I knew, I'm like, I want this comfort food, but I know I'm going to crash afterwards too. And I need something else that's going to give my body more, right? So what I added was I added some leftover chicken that I had from the night before that I made for dinner. So I cut chicken into big chunks. And then I also had some frozen broccoli that I microwaved for a few minutes, and I put the broccoli and the chicken in with the mac and cheese too. So I had my protein from the chicken, I had my plant life from the broccoli. If you can fit in more kudos to you. So plant life, I had the fat from the high quality cheese and the grass-fed butter that I put in there, and I had my carbs because I had that delicious chickpea pasta. So just a kind of an idea for you as far as how to balance your plate, especially during time of stress. I want to be sharing some more resources for you. So if you have any questions or if there's anything else I can provide to help you during this time, I'm here for you. All the love to every human out there. We could all use it right now.